Multiple AEW and ROH stars have been released, plus the backstage reaction to CM Punk's explosive interview has been revealed, and WWE is bringing back a major international event. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling news right now. It was revealed last night by PW Insider and Fightful Select that multiple AEW and ROH names have been released from the company in what I believe is the first round of AEW cuts in the company's history.
Yeah, we've seen people leave at the end of their contracts. This is the first set of actual releases.
Yes, that's it,
Yes.
Releases.
Do you want to alternate these names?
I think we'll alternate them. So 10 in total gone from last night. We'll start with Anthony Henry, who joined AEW in 2021 after his release from WWE in the same year. Recently, he was part of the Workhorsemen with JD Drake. He had his jaw broken in a match at an indie show and consequently has been out of action. He missed the tag team tournament that they've had planned for the Workhorsemen, and as of last night, was released from AEW.
Yeah, that X-ray was horrifying to see, wasn't it?
Awful to say. Yeah.
The next one, Stu Grayson, of course, a founding member of the Dark Order, formerly the Super Smash Bros. And PWG, as Matthew loves them. His first AEW contract expired in 2022, but he was re-signed the following year, and he hasn't competed on AEW TV for some time, but has been appearing on Being the Dark Order. Adopt them, brothers.
Adopt them. Gravity, the real-life brother of Bandido, debuted for AEW last January. He moved over to ROH in June, where he's been semi-regular on ROH TV. We last saw him in February losing to Lee Johnson, I believe. A very talented performer in the ring.
Yeah, and also the one that Gravity didn't forget.
Did not forget Gravity.
Dear me. Anyway, Dasha Gonzalez, a really surprising one because she's been just basically the Collision ring announcer up until last week, as far as I could see. But yeah, she was part of AEW since her NXT departure back in 2019, a backstage interviewer as well as the in-ring announcer, and she was on the Spanish announce team for a spell as well as hosting AEW Dark with Tony Schiavone.
Slim J, previously part of NWA Wildside, quite popular on the Georgia wrestling circuit as well. Part of the ill-fated Trustbusters faction in AEW.
Hell of a theme, though. Hell of a theme. Just nothing else going. It was moved to Ring of Honor when AEW Dark vanished, and whilst he's done a few bits on the indies and had some success on the indie scene, hasn't picked up a win on ROH in quite some time. Parker Boudreaux, another member of the Trustbusters, of course, from back in the day. He was briefly aligned with Swerve Strickland and the Mogul affiliates with Trench. Big Trench with all the tattoos and whatnot. He was moved to, recently popped up in AAA and was said to be part of Triple Mania, teaming with QT Marshall.
He's still part of that match. That doesn't change, by the way, but it'd be weird now. Obviously, AEW's QT Marshall in that match, and former AEW guy Parker Boudreaux's in there as well. Jose the Assistant, former wrestler who did enhancement work for WWE in 2011 and 2012. He joined AEW and ended up managing Andrade El Idolo and LFI before his release. I have reached out to Jose and said, hey, come and tell your story on our channel, and he said he will for 15,000 Bitcoin. So I've asked if he accepts Doge.
I don't know if you're joking or not there.
I'm not sure if he is either, but all the best to you, Jose.
Hey, Joel, of course, you might recognise from the Hardy Family Office back in the day, former soccer player and bodybuilder. Hasn't been on TV, Ring of Honor or AEW since last July, losing to the Infantry the last time on Ring of Honor.
And this one breaks my heart. The Tate twins, Dalton Castle's boys. The boys are gone. The boys are not back in town. Former six-man tag team champs alongside Dalton Castle. Now, recently on ROH TV, they were kidnapped by Johnny TV and Taya Valkyrie, and it was revealed the other week that they had escaped from where they were being held captive and possibly eaten by bears. Now, I watched that going, this is where at Supercard of Honor they'll make their triumphant comeback and do away with the fake boys and save the day. Nope, they've eaten by bears is just their canonical end in Ring of Honor, it seems.
A hell of a way to go.
I mean, if you're going to go anyway, eaten by bears. PW Insider is reporting in speaking to several sources, AEW is currently evaluating their talent roster and making cuts to benefit both the company and the talent. The belief is the released talent will be 100% free agents immediately. We're told this was likely the complete list of talent who were cut, and no word of additional names will also be released. Does it possibly mean that AEW can bring them back on an ad hoc per appearance basis rather than signing them.
They've not been afraid to do that in the past, have they? I mean, Matt Cardona, we think, is just a per appearance deal at the moment after his Collision match of the day. It's a weird one to sort of like wrap your head around, is it? Because it's a revenue stream has been taken away, but now they're free to do other things. We've always said that AEW's roster is bloated, which they now seem to be rectifying. So I don't know how you take it.
Yeah, to everybody that was let go, we send best wishes, and here's to you finding shiny new horizons ahead. There's always life after these big moments, and in some cases, we've seen some wrestlers turn it into the making of them. We're seeing it with the likes of Matt Cardona, the fact that we're talking about him so much over the weekend as we've had more releases is a great example of somebody that was handed that release and has absolutely become a bigger star for it, like a renaissance for Matt Cardona in the wake of his Zack Ryder days.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like a vision of Tony Khan has of a wrestler might not be what they want to do, like as a career as a whole. So they could reinvent themselves, and who knows what they might be saying about them in a couple of years' time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll let you know more at cultaholic.com when we know more. Last night, CM Punk's interview with the MMA Hour and Ariel Helwani certainly raised a lot of eyebrows. I do want to very quickly correct something that I said. So we reported on this in a video last night. I misquoted CM Punk, and it's quite a crucial misquote that I.
You're one of those reporters he was talking about.
Yes. Ironically, I am. So I misquoted the bit where CM Punk talked about Tony Khan, and Tony, when he said the truth is the truth, he's not a boss, he's a nice guy. Now, I misread that in my speed reading, and I came out with he is not a boss, he's not a nice guy. So that's not the story at all. And I want to make sure that is clearly defined. That was not a dig, it wasn't a shot, it was literally a misquote on my part, because it was late at night and we were turning it around quick, and I apologize. The apology should be as loud as the disrespect, quote CM Punk. So the full quote, just so we're on the same page, CM Punk regarding Tony Khan, he says, the truth is the truth, he's not a boss, he's a nice guy, and ultimately I think that's a detriment to the company, but it's not my company, I am an outsider. Apologies for that one. Now, the reaction from this has been far and wide.
Yes, Fightful Select have reached out to both AEW and WWE sources following that bombshell interview with Ariel Helwani. We saw several AEW talent roster members support All Elite Wrestling on the social media last night. One comment by Trent caught the attention more than most. At the time of the interview's release, he tweeted, "Unfortunately, con men make great baby faces."
Ooh, nice. From Fightful, they say one supporter of Punk's in AEW said that the interview was bound to happen, and that they personally hope that's the last they hear of it until hopefully one day fences are mended.
This is from one of Fightful Select's WWE sources. They say one talent said that they figured Punk would answer the AEW questions before too long, even though there's an NDA in place. Of course, he dodged around that specific situation, didn't he? Yeah. And answered everything else. Another talent said they actually preferred it to be this week. It hopes that most of us just forget about it and move on to the wrestling by the time the weekend rolls around. More than anything, what the interview showed is what was preventable from all sides. One veteran AEW talent said, Punk is happy, AEW talent have moved on, so hopefully everyone just learns from this and makes amends in the future.
Fightful continues saying, all that we've heard thus far in WWE has been good with CM Punk. Those that we've spoken to on the exec side of WWE didn't believe Punk really wanted to broach the subject of AEW today, but knew it was likely going to come up. They said that Punk isn't likely to be subjected to a heavy media schedule this week, like some others in the company, as he's still recovering from an injury. There is a belief as well that you kind of do this interview with Ariel Helwani like on the Monday. It's WrestleMania this weekend, and you know the rate in which news moves these days, like today's headlines is tomorrow's chip paper, as the phrase goes. The hope is that by the time WrestleMania comes round, all that uproar and stuff has calmed and we can focus on WrestleMania instead.
It is weird though, just the fact he spoke so much about AEW. I know that's what everyone wants to hear about from CM Punk here in 2024, but it is weird on WrestleMania week to see so much AEW news out there. I know he did obviously broach the subject of going back to doing his relationship with Triple H and stuff like that. I actually thought he came across really likable and candid. There was one hypocritical part where he's like, "Ooh, I'm the workers' rights guys, but guaranteed money. You should be paid up on the house," and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the message that he was sending there is the idea that you probably don't do your best work if you've already been paid.
Yeah.
Like you work harder when you're hungry, that sort of thing. And then there's an argument for that.
Yeah.
But do check out the full interview if you have time. It's a cracking sit down chat. Whether you like Punk or not, it's a really interesting dive into the last couple of years in the life of Phil Brooks.
He goes at everything he can do, which is all you can ask from the guy, isn't it? He's got an NDA hanging above his head about the brawl-out situation, but apart from that, everything was on le table.
Here's some exciting news for international WWE fans, i.e. us. Hello. Last night on Raw, Michael Cole gave us a little cheeky tease, saying that Clash at the Castle would return on July the 15th, 2024. He said the country and the location would be revealed today, and it has been.
I don't want to do it, Tom, but I've got to do it. Okay, the Hydro in Glasgow is getting Clash at the Castle. Scotland, of course, that is, for people who don't know where Glasgow is. Saturday, June the 15th, as Tom said. SmackDown the night before will also be in that there same arena. I'm a bit shocked it's not well, apparently Hampden Park's been turned into a fan park for the Euros, which means they can't use that. I've been speaking to my Scottish friend at home today. I was shocked that maybe Celtic Park or Murrayfield wasn't being used. Maybe
I'd heard some rumour and innuendo about Murrayfield. Yeah. You know, since obviously the Clash of the Castle was at the Principality. You know, whether or not they carry on the theme of having it at a much bigger arena, stadium type venue. So Murrayfield seemed good, but you know what? 2 nights at the Hydro, very well make the money back from that.
Scotland is a wrestling hotbed. Let's say that.
Yes, it's certainly.
They wouldn't have any issues selling 50,000 tickets for that, I reckon.
I, for one, cannot wait for the main event of Clash at the Castle with Drew McIntyre defending his world title against Grado. I mean, what they've done it. They have sold out the Hydro on Drew versus Grado before. Fear and Loathing back in today. They can do it again. Grado! Come on! Let's go! New Day! He's not a boss, he's a nice guy. We'll have more wrestling news throughout the day for you at cultaholic.com. Stay safe. I love you. Bye.
Goodbye.